All right, Panther fans. So, as promised, Stu and I are here this morning, bright and well, not as bright. Stu was ready bright and early. I made the mistake of texting Stu when I first woke up, and he was like, "Hey, let's do this now." I'm like, "Hey, the dog doesn't even have me out of bed yet."
Yeah,
So,
I'm usually up, these days I'm up 6:30, 7 o'clock,
yeah,
pretty much ready to roll.
it happens to me sometimes too. But when the dog lets us sleep in a little bit, I take advantage of it. Believe me, there's nothing like 150-pound head slobbering on you first thing in the morning. Exactly. Exactly. So, all right. So we asked for questions. We've got them. So just going to preface this real quick by saying we've glanced very lightly at the questions. Stu and I haven't talked about them. There's no preconceived answers or anything like that. We haven't gotten together on any of it. So you're getting the answers in real time. So we'll do it that
Yeah,
way.
and when we appreciate, the questions, the
Yeah.
comments.
Absolutely.
Like I said, and I've said it almost every video, everybody is entitled to their opinion.
Yep.
Eric and I express our opinion, and you can agree, you can disagree. I'm not right all the time,
Right.
but most of the time.
Most of the time, but between Stu and I can't. I mean, we're very. But if you added up the percentages, it's like we're right 198% of the time. So, Stu's like, I'm glad you said
So,
that. Not me.
of course, timing, right? Freaking garbage truck is gonna empty the things now.
All right.
Right?
Well,
If I sound like I'm trying to listen, they'll be gone in a second.
We'll give him a second. We'll give him a second to empty the garbage over there. So
let's talk about for 5 minutes. Let's do a little preview. We got Detroit tonight, right?
Yeah, and it's the magic number is 3, which could be reached tonight because if Toronto loses to Tampa, in fact, if Toronto just gets 1 point against Tampa and we get 2 against Detroit, it's over. The whole thing is over. We have the
with Tampa these days, it's like you never know which way it's gonna go.
Right. Yeah. Like I've said, give me 13 games. I want to beat Toronto. Then after that, it's not that I don't want to win, but after that, we got the 120 points. We got the conference. I want everybody healthy. That's the only thing in my mind at that point.
Yeah, that's the main thing at this point right now. When players are going in the corner, that's my cringe moment.
Yep.
Is watching them, just skate away.
Right. Yeah. Just slow down, and be good.
Especially Marchment.
Yeah.
Because of the head injury.
Right.
So,
are they at
can
your
you
house?
hear this thing?
We do.
All right. Well, he's leaving.
All right.
Anyway, McDavid scored a goal and 2 assists last night.
Okay. Yeah. So
Edmonton beat down. So he's back in the league. Which, listen, Huberdeau could do that tonight as well.
Yeah. Let's hope so. All right. So are we good over there?
Another minute.
We need another minute.
All right, we're good. Go ahead.
We're good. Okay, they're far enough away. All right. So let me get to the first question here. All right. First question is from Mike. Some of these last names I'm going to butcher or I won't say it, and plus my eyes. So forgive me. Mike C. We'll go with that. Yeah, he says
you'll know. Everybody watching should know who wrote their question.
Exactly. So assuming we get Washington for round 1, since 16-17, including this year, our record versus Washington is 5-2-1 at home, 3-3-0 away, with an 8-5-1 total. See below for details, and he breaks it down. My question to both of you is, how do we match up physically? Can we neutralize Ovi and the dangerous power play? And can we avoid and deal with Wilson's antics? Thanks, guys. All right. Stu, go ahead, bud.
So, in answer to that question, thanks for all the stats too, Mike. So how do we match up with them? I think we match up good. I mean, obviously we got to stop Ovechkin, Backstrom, Kuznetsov. The guy that I worry about is Tom Wilson.
Right.
And I'll tell you why. Tom Wilson's a dirty player. And he's always looking to take somebody out. So just for that, how do we neutralize him? The minute he starts pulling his stuff, Gudas has to go after him, just beat the crap out of him.
Yep. Absolutely.
Game one.
Yep.
and send him a message that we're not going to tolerate it, because God
Right.
forbid he hits one of our key players
Right.
or sticks a knee out like he's done
Mm-hmm.
a number of times. I've seen video of it,
Yeah.
he's hurt people, and we
Right,
can't
right.
afford to lose anybody. So that I want to just emphasize that right up front. We can't let him get away with anything. As
Right.
soon as he starts any crap, Gudis has to go after him, or somebody else, but I prefer Gudis. Just
Yeah.
go after him.
Yep.
Just drop the gloves and just go after him, beat the crap out of him.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. All right.
So the power play, it revolves around Ovechkin in the Ovi spot.
Right.
Ovechkin is just, he's a proven Panther killer. So he's the guy that we got to stop. How do we
Right.
do it? We just have a guy just draped all over him at all times.
Yep.
We don't really do that, but we should.
Right.
I was watching highlights from Toronto, and I forget which game it was the other night. And they I don't know what team it was again, but they had a player following Matthews. Wherever
Right.
Matthews went,
Wherever he went,
that's
right.
where this guy went.
Right. Right.
So I don't say necessarily we shadow Ovechkin 5-on-5, but on the power play, they got to cheat a little bit and
Right.
not let Ovi get that, that one timer.
Get that one timer. So
Yeah.
So obviously on the Wilson thing, 100% agree. Exactly what I was going to say. That's why we have Radko Gudas. And I think I have a feeling, like you said, any antics that he would pull would be short-lived. As far as the PK and stopping their power play and everything, the name that just immediately blew up in my face when I read that question was Anton Lundell. To me, that's the difference. And don't forget, Huberdeau's killing penalties too. But Lundell, his anticipation is just off the charts, rookie or not. I mean, not even for a rookie, for a veteran, his anticipation is off the charts.
Totally agree.
Yeah, just like you said, not exactly having to shadow him that way, but I think if Lundell Lundell needs to be on PK unit 1 and PK 2 unit 2, we'll put it that way, and then he can take a shift off on the 5-on-5. I think Lundell's going to be key there. So, all right, let's go
We
on.
just have to watch how they're moving it around, because, like I said, it's all geared to getting it, just like with Tampa and Stamkos.
Right.
That power play is basically geared, and that's obviously something that we should do. I mean, we've done it with Duclair.
Right.
Obviously, they're looking for that open guy, but the thing is not to get overplayed where the defenseman, where they're moving it on the other side to draw the defenseman over.
Right.
Or the forward over, leaving Ovechkin open.
Right. Agreed.
So I think other than that, I just think, Bob plays like he's been playing.
Right. Yeah.
The defense are tight. They don't leave anybody out in front for those gimme goals. I think our offense takes over, and I'd like to see 4-1. We'll give them a game.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a sweep, but let's just say they win one. I'd like to see this series over in 5 games.
Yeah. Well, it depends.
If
we
again,
yeah.
this is all contingent on who we're playing.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah.
we're all assuming it's Washington. But
Yeah.
a lot can happen in the last 6 games.
I think they lost last night. I believe I saw the score that they lost last night. So, all right. So the next question, Carl Marquez. Thank you, sir. He's got a bunch for us, Stu. So I'm going to take this one at a time here. Okay. He says, your work is awesome. I always get happy when your videos hit the scroll feed. So we appreciate that. So the first question he has is, if you could revert one trade or draft pick from the last 4 seasons, who would it be? And my answer is going to be interesting to that. I wouldn't have traded Frank Bertrano to the Rangers. I would have traded him somewhere else. And I know that, the general feeling, is we're trading him to a good team to show that we'll do him right and all. And I get that. But we haven't made a lot of bad moves. So it's slim pickings in terms of what I would want to take back. And yeah, so maybe that move. And I would have maybe tried to find some way to keep Levy, however you pronounce the other goalie's name that we lost.
Levy.
Yeah, Levy. Stu.
Yeah.
So that same question to you.
See, the thing is, it's 4 years, which means it's, it's got talent mixed in there.
Right, right.
So, I'll just say in the Zito area, in the Zito era, how's that? The only
Yeah.
thing, the only bad signing or whatever is that Johansson.
Oh, yeah.
I just don't understand that one.
Right.
And we could have easily said Joe Thornton. Okay.
Right.
We obviously had our, questions about that one, but
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that alone. I'm
Yeah.
just going to say, watch Joe Thornton come up big in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah.
just leave it at somehow, some way. He's going to have, if he plays, and he's got to play,
Right.
if he wants his name on the cup.
Yeah.
I think Joe Thornton is going to either score. I just think something's going to happen where we're going to just shake our head and go.
Right. To be honest, if Lomberg's not healthy, I think game one, you scratch Mammon, you put Thornton in and get that done and over with.
For the veteran presence. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if he has to play a game, if Lomberg's not healthy, get him in the game one. Just boom, get him in, and then if you need him at some point down the road. So,
yeah.
All right.
But other than that,
yeah.
I'm trying to think, Zito hasn't made a bad move.
No.
I'm trying to think, if you stretch it out to the 4 years.
It's tough.
Really, I don't even want to think about. I mean, it's a great question.
Yeah.
I don't even want to.
There's not a lot. It's been good. I mean, really, did Talon sign any stupid I mean, maybe but he said one draft or trade pick, so it's not even a contract. If you want to talk about Bobrovsky's contract.
Okay, so I don't know if it's within that 4 years, but obviously we could have had Barzell over Lawson Krause.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a while ago, but yeah.
And I think that, that might be past the 4 years. And again, I really, this one really gets me. Like in that draft, and I think it was the McDavid draft, why didn't we trade up and get Rantanen?
Right.
I've always wanted to say that, we had a chance at Colorado. They took him right before us.
Yeah.
And I think we should have traded somebody in a draft pick or whatever to get Rantanen. Rantanen I knew was going to be a great player as another Finn guy.
Right.
And all right, so let's move on to the next question.
All right, so the next one is Barkov showing you captain material. He's great offensively, obviously, but do you think he's physical enough to lead through example? Look, he's the captain. So you kind of you're looking at him and exactly how you're asking. It was like, is he showing us captain material? This is the first year I'd say yes, because this is the first year like he did the other night when nothing else is happening and he takes over the game and gets us a couple of goals to win the game. And obviously it was 3 the other game. So I think that's his example. I think that's how he can lead by example. Stu?
Well, we know he's not Mr. Emotion and Mr. Verbal.
Right.
To go, get in the ref's face about penalties and whatnot. We got Hornquist to do that. Or, when he's wearing the A, or even if he's not wearing the A. We also have Giroux, former captain. We got Ekblad.
Right.
So as far as that goes, okay, so we know Barkov's not, very demonstrative, but he definitely has, again, this year, he's definitely solidified his role as leader.
Yep. Agreed.
And the players know. I mean, every player says he's the hardest working guy on the team besides Bob.
Right. Exactly.
So and I know the players look up to him, as the captain. They love the guy.
Yep. All right. Favorite game time meal or drink?
Veal Parmesan hero.
Oh wow, dude. Yeah.
Almost every game.
There you go. For me, it's changed over the years. It used to be, and this is disgusting. It sounds disgusting. It tasted so good, but I can't eat it anymore. It used to be a bowl of Cocoa Puffs with chocolate almond milk and instant coffee mixed in. Yeah. If you watch some of the earlier
game meal,
If you,
At
if
7 o'clock,
you,
six
like
o'clock at night?
like if you watch some of the older videos, like from the first 2 or 3 years, like when when we were getting our ass kicked and I knew I had a rant coming about the start of the third period, somewhere in that intermission, I would have all that sugar and all that caffeine. And that's what a lot of those rants come from, Cocoa Puffs and instant coffee. Now,
Okay.
I don't do that anymore because I got sick. And obviously, it wasn't that made me sick. Nowadays, it's an extremely boring. I've got my water, and usually Karen will serve me my dinner, either the beginning of the first period or the second period, and it's very healthy chicken salad or steak or something. There's no particular one thing anymore. Which is a good thing because my diet, because of the Lyme disease, my diet was so restrictive. There was like 10 foods I could eat without getting an upset stomach. And now I can eat anything I want, including ribs. That's been barbecue. If I had to pick something, it's just like just take anything and put barbecue sauce on it and I'll eat it. So, all right. Still from Carl. It is the arena. He's talking about the old BB&T or whatever we're going to call it now, the FLA Live.
Yeah.
Is the arena in the middle of nowhere now that the malls are dying off? Would you rather a new arena closer to the East Coast or Bobrovsky's contract cut in half, both in length and cost? Stu, I'll give you that one since you live down there.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the arena being. In fact, I prefer it. I used to, have season tickets at the Miami Arena. I'm all the way up in Boca Del Rey, so I just hop on the turnpike. I get on the Sawgrass. I'm down there in a half an hour.
Yeah.
No traffic. It's an easy ride. And I don't know, who cares about the malls? I'm not going to shop.
Right.
I'm going to the game. So in answer to
Right.
that question, I have a feeling that the eventual goal is to build an arena in Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
I don't
Right.
think they're moving it back to Miami.
No, well,
think this is-
they're renovating the whole old War Memorial to be the whole practice facility and everything.
Right. But
Right.
there was talk, and I'll just say, from sources high up, that there was talk at one point about building a new arena.
Okay. Yeah.
But
Well,
I mean, we signed a long-term lease,
Right.
with Broward for, for this FLA Live arena.
right.
But in terms of, and what's wild is when I used to go down there when they first opened it up, there was nothing there.
Oh, yeah, I know.
It was nothing, and now you got all these apartment complexes around it and stuff. So
I grew
like
up.
I said, for me, it's an easy ride.
Yeah. That area, I grew up down there before there was anything there. And my uncle Robert, who actually passed, he worked for the company that actually engineered all that 595 and all that mess out there. I remember he'd pick me up to go fishing in the 5 o'clock in the morning. We go out the Everglades out there, and sometimes he'd have plans with them, and he'd be telling me what they're building and where they're going to build it. So yeah, I watched that whole area. There's people that have backyards now where he used to take me fishing when I was a kid. So, all right. Favorite game this season and favorite goal this season. That's too hard. For me, pick any of the 4 goal comebacks, right? And the favorite goal, I don't remember which goal it was, but still you'll remember there was an interaction between Huberdeau and Barkov after the goal. That they just looked at each other in amazement. And so whatever goal that was is the one that I but I don't remember which goal it was.
Yeah, I agree. Too many. But now you're talking about post-goal reactions. How about a couple of the Ekblad reactions?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, there was another one with Huberdeau and Bennett, I think, where Huberdeau almost kissed him.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how we remember the goals. We remember the reactions.
But you're right, coming back from the 4 goals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. All right.
I mean, you just look at the last couple of games and the overtime goals.
Right.
Again, there's been so many of them.
Yeah. Yep. All right. So the next question is from Chris Gonzalez. He says, "Hey, Jaws and Stu, my question is, why do you think we are playing Haig so much now? He will 99% be out of the lineup once Ekblad is back in, and we could be giving some more ice time to someone like Lindblom if they are just trying to build team chemistry." I think, number one, I agree with you that I prefer Lindblom or Carlson. I think more than anything, it's just they've seen Lindblom and Carlson with our guys, and they just want to see how he's going to look with our guys before the playoffs come. That's the only guess I got, Stu.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I mean, in fact, we've mentioned it on, previous videos. It seems like Carlson has been the guy kind of sort of squeezed out.
Yeah.
I like Carlson for his offense.
Right.
And I wish that, in these last few games or whatever, that he would have just, kind of in one game, out one game.
Right.
I don't see the big whoop with this guy, except he hasn't really made a lot of mistakes. He's been steady.
Yeah.
He's been quiet. So,
Right.
in a good way.
Right.
That's all you can ask for.
That's it.
Would I like to see a guy like for instance, Forsling, same, goes about his business, why not? But Forsling has like all of a sudden become an offensive threat.
Yeah.
I don't think Haig's got that.
No, not to that extent. Not to that extent.
So that's the answer.
All right. So the next question, and this is for you, Stu. See, Keith, the Bigfoot SoFlo fan. Stu, when the Cats win the cup, will you do a cannonball into your pool on the recap with your cigar in your mouth?
No.
No.
I plan on being there, and I plan on lifting the cup.
Gotcha.
And don't ask me how that's going to happen. Let's just say, let's win the cup. But I have every intention of being there to celebrate with the team.
Excellent. I will. I have a
and
pool,
I will have my cigar.
And you will have the cigar. Who knows what's going to happen, because it's going to be, I don't know if I'm going to be live streaming or how that's all going to play out there in the end. I don't think I'll be running and immediately jumping into the pool because it's dark outside at that point, but you never know. You never know. But I won't have a cigar. All right. Hold on a second. I skipped a couple here. I want to make sure I didn't. Okay, the next one is for you, Stu. Our good friend One Bad Steve wants to know. He says, "Who hurt you, Stu? How much lunch money did Uyghur steal from you? Is it because he's the top two in the is it because he's top two in the Panthers hair competition every year? He lost to Yager last year and Duclair this year. Leave my mans alone. Totally not." One Bad Steve. Take it away.
Okay, so let me say this flat out. I don't hate Uyghur. Okay, I think Uyghur's a good player. I just think he's got some deficiencies in his game that he's got to work. As Eric said, I think, he's played a lot of minutes. A lot of the mistakes come from him being gassed. I just point out what I see. And if you don't see what I'm seeing, then you're blind. He makes a lot of mistakes. You got to be honest. He makes a lot of mistakes. And he's got great numbers. Can't take that away.
Right.
He's on the ice for a lot of goals. He makes some really good passes, but I'm talking specifically defense. Right. That's his job. He's a defenseman.
Right.
Okay. So, and I'm going to keep calling him out when I see stupid plays. Okay. And I guess, everybody else will have to be the judge. I mean, again, I don't hate the guy. I love the guy.
Yeah.
But there are things that I'd like to see him improve.
So I'll give you a little story about me and why I'm so hard on somebody every year. I've been a coach my whole life. And when I mean I've been a coach my whole life, when we would get together as kids and play 4-on-4 street football, and we'd get together with the 4 kids from the block down the street, and they'd come on a Saturday and challenge the 4 guys that we had on our block, I will have stayed for 2 hours the previous day and maybe drawn up a dozen plays and had signals for street football with a bunch of kids. So these kids I want to win. And these kids would show up from around the block, and I'd be at the line of scrimmage calling WX mailbox, and I'd have 3 guys running patterns, and it wasn't fair because it's supposed to be street football. What are you guys doing calling plays? Because I want to win. So when I'm looking at a player, I take all the they could do 99% great stuff, and you guys have seen what happens when I praise them anyway. I'm looking for how can a guy improve? What's going on? What am I seeing that he can get better and better and better and better? It's not personal. I understand that it can come off as a little bit overbearing and all of that. But that's how I am. But it's not personal. That's the thing. With Uyghur, and we've seen it these last however many games, when Uyghur focuses on defense, he's damn good. When he focuses on defense, he's absolutely capable of being 1D. Okay. When he pushes too much offense, when he's trying too much, and I've noticed it whenever somebody's injured and somebody's out and he's trying to do too much, he just tries to do too much. And in life with anybody, it doesn't matter how good you are. If you're trying to do too much, you're going to make mistakes. And in the past, I get that we've needed to take the risks for all the extra offense, but we don't need it anymore. What we need is just everybody just do your job, because we have the forwards to score on a nightly basis, 4, 5, 6 goals without having to take the risk that our defensive guys are trying too hard to create offense and costing us goals in the back end. So that's what I
mean, Eric, you've seen things that I've seen, right?
Yeah, no, look, and I don't think that. I think the other people, the Uyghur supporters argument, I think is, and it's kind of what Billy said, is yes, he makes these mistakes, but he makes up for it in these other areas. While I understand that, I do. I like the Uyghur now that we've seen these last 3 or 4 games much better, where he's being much more conservative. He's coming into the blue line. He's playing what Forsling was playing. He's coming to the blue line. He's dumping it off to a player, and he's getting back. He's playing a lot safer. And like you said, that's his job. That's his job. So I've been saying this since last year. I think and you saw it in the other game, this last game, where he got frustrated. I think he takes on too much. I think mentally he takes too much of the responsibility on himself. He goes out there, he tries to make something happen, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And that's, if you can learn to harness that as a player, if you can really learn mentally the edge of when to do it and when to not to do it, that's what separates the great ones. And I think he has that potential. He's just got to learn to rein it in a little bit more. And so far, so good these last few games. All right. Let's see what we got here.
By the way, they just started, the lawn guys just started. So let's try and get through this.
All right. So the next question is from Amanda K-Man. Hey guys, I know both of you have been fans of the team since the beginning, and you've seen some great players wear the Panther jerseys over the year. List your top 3 players to wear the jersey, starting with your third choice. And when you get to number 1, provide the reason for choosing that player. For me, if I'm working backwards, number 3 is going to be Jovanovski. Number 2 is going to be Luongo. And if you're talking about great players to wear the jersey, for me, number 1 is going to be Jágr. And the reason why that is because he put us back on the map. Nobody, I mean, really nobody cared about the Panthers at that point. And when Jágr put on that uniform and PK Subban did the thing at the All-Star game, he made people care about the Panthers, what little bit they did. So that's my answer. Stu?
Yeah, I'll put Jágr in the mix too. I mean, there's so many good players right now. You know,
right.
You look at Huberdeau, Barkov, Ekblad, okay. But if we're looking on, you know, throughout the history of the team,
right?
there's a toss-up for me between John Van Beesbrook and Luongo. And I put Luongo up at the top because Luongo used to face 40, 45, 50 shots a night
Right.
on a pretty bad team. And he
Right.
would keep us in the game,
Right.
every game. I mean, I
Right.
want to give, shout outs to Bill Lindsay, that 96 team won up. Pavel Bure definitely comes in there, but
Right.
we got Pavel Bure on the decline of his career.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Also, we didn't have such a great team playing with him.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, that's, it's tough to pick like the guy at the top, but if I had to, I'd say Roberto.
Right.
And again, the worst trade in Panther history was losing Luongo in his peak years.
Yeah. Yeah.
That really burned me.
Yep.
He should have been a Panther for life.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. Next question is from Kirby. He says two things. Number one, I'm part of Uyghur Army, but man, are you ever hard on him? I'd say outside of Bob, the spotlight will be on Uyghur and what he does in these playoffs with his contract expiring soon. He does need to perform better than last playoffs. He will likely want north of 5.8 million on a 4 to 6 year deal. Thoughts? Which that immediately made me look up Ekblad's contract. So his average contract is 7.5. And I found it interesting that's actually a Tom Rowe deal. So that's one thing that Tom Rowe actually didn't screw up. You think he's going to want more than, so basically he's going to want more than 6 million on a 4 to 6 year deal. Stu, what do you think?
Well, first off, I think the spotlight is going to be more on Ekblad than anybody. Just to see how he comes back and, how quick he gets back to his, what was a Norris Trophy season.
Right.
Best season he ever had. So as far as that, this is a tough one, guys. You got Huberdeau that you got to sign. That's going to be 10 million. You got Marchment that you got to sign. I'd like to see them sign Giroux.
Right. Mammon needs a contract too.
Yeah, Mammon needs a contract. So I don't know if the money's going to be there for him.
Right.
And you're right. I mean, he's going to want probably 6 mil, and he probably deserves it.
Right.
I just don't know how we're going to do it with the amount of money we have left.
No, that's going to be a tough call. Because are we going to have the money for it? And then what kind of assets could he bring in return? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying I want that to happen, but
we also have Ben Sherratt.
Right. Yeah. I mean, eventually you can't pay everybody. So we'll have to see, that Bobrovsky contract, not that I'm not ripping on Bob, but that's 10 million. That's going to, we always said it last year that eventually it's going to cost us the player.
Yep.
And that's eventually is going to happen. The second part of the question is to Stu, but both. He says, do you honestly believe in your heart of hearts that Huberdeau is the best player on this team now and moving forward? That is a white hot take if I ever saw one, and I see a lot of eyebrow raising takes in Panthers community. I'd like to answer that first. I'm on record since at least previous to that series. I've been saying that if they both played to their full potential, that I thought Huberdeau was the better player. So that's not something I came out with just this year. I've kind of felt like if Huberdeau ever reached that point where he was just pissed off enough to just play hard every game all day, that this is the kind of player we'd get. Stu?
Well, I'm not going to say he's the best player on the team. I think all around, probably Barkov. But as far as the importance to the team this year, it's Huberdeau, because he's done it game in and game out. He's played every game, and he's been involved in, so many goals. I mean, obviously, the guy's got 80 assists. He's broken the NHL record.
Right.
So that's 80 goals that other players have scored.
Right.
So I'm not going to say he's better. I'm just going to say, as far as like the MVP, the most valuable player on the team this year, it's Huberdeau. And again, not taking anything away from Barkov. As
Right.
far as I'm concerned, Barkov's probably one of the top three, if not the best all-around two-way player in the league.
Right. Yeah, I'll grant you that. All right. Next question is from Terry Roy. Short and sweet. If we win the Stanley Cup, how long do we think Giroux is staying for?
If we win the
Go ahead.
cup, he wants to come back. The question is working
Right.
the money out.
Right. Right.
I don't think Giroux came down here to be a one season rent a guy.
Right.
And I will tell you, once they win one cup, they want another one.
Yeah. I think that because we've talked about this a little bit with the Hornquist and Achari's money and the Yandel cap hit and all of that. I think if there's a way that we can make it, I think that he'd be willing to do maybe a 2x6, right? Because what was he making? He was making 8 or 9 in Philly, which when you factor in taxes, that's like 6 or 7. So I could be totally off. I could be totally off, and he may get an offer from somebody for some ridiculous amount of money. But if we win, I think Stu's right. If we win, who wants to leave the team that just won, right? Because then it's like a blip. It's like, oh, I went to Florida for 5 minutes, won a cup, and then went somewhere else for the extra money. I don't think he doesn't strike me as that kind of guy.
Listen, we're set up to win multiple cups.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, we are. If everybody,
Right.
Stays, we're set up, to win multiple cups. And
Yep.
Giroux's on the, he's also at the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
It's Florida.
Right.
You got to weigh in the family.
Yeah. Well, that warm weather helps those legs. Just ask
But I'm just talking about the lifestyle. And,
Right.
of course, the no state tax and whatnot. But, he's got 2 young boys.
Right.
And, happy wife, happy life. I'm sure moving away from the snow and the cold weather and whatnot.
Mhm.
I mean, all of this stuff factors in.
Right.
The
right,
family factors in. We don't, we don't think
Right.
about it. We just
Right.
think in terms of hockey,
Right.
but the players think about their families too.
No, it's a
So,
very good point. Very good point. All right. Next question is from Tim Black. Couple of questions here. The first one is what should the D pairs be in the playoffs? He's got Ekblad Uyghur, Forsling Montour, and Sherratt Gudis. I think that's pretty much what we're looking at. Stu?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah. Would I like to see again, for the 1000th time, would I like to see Ekblad and Uyghur split? Yes, but they're not going to do it.
Well, I tell you, the fact that we got Sherratt and can put him with Gudis changed my mind on that, because the Forsling Montour pair is so damn good that I want those guys together. Because what Forsling has done since being put with Montour is forget it. But that's where the offensive defenseman's coming in. So I like that.
Well, what's great about Forsling, and he's shown us in the last few games that he can be an offensive threat.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
But on the other hand,
Right.
playing with a guy like Montour,
Right.
who is always thinking offense, Forsling will stay back and just
Right.
play his defense.
Yeah.
So,
No, I think that really.
So yeah, that's the way I think that. Yeah,
Yep.
I think you're right on that one. Those are
Right.
the pairings, and it's just like Sherratt and Gudis.
I know. It's beautiful.
No?
It's a beautiful thing. The second part of his question there was, he says it might be a question for Randy and Billy, but what's with Reinhardt's head twitch? Do you know what he's asking?
I'll have to look now that
Yeah.
you've mentioned it. I really didn't even notice that.
Yeah, we'll have to look for that. Okay,
So maybe when who asked that question?
it's Tim Black.
So Tim, do me a favor. When you watch the video, put a comment in what you're talking about,
Right.
so I can look for it next game.
Right. So still from Tim, he says, also, do you think having last change at home ice is why we're so good at home? Being able to control the line matchups, and when we have lines 1A, 1B, and 1C, it's just not fair to the other team's third and fourth line. Stu?
Having the last change always helps, but I don't think that's the main factor why we're so good at home.
Right.
I just think, always, they call it home cooking.
Right.
Being at home, the players are sleeping in their own beds, they're with
Right,
their
right.
families, yada,
Right.
yada.
Right.
But I will put one major factor this year, the crowds are coming out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the energy in the building is so electric.
Yep.
And all the Panthers have to do is put up a goal or two, or we get to 4 goals and we
And that's
start
it.
hearing we want 10.
Yeah.
The players go nuts when they hear that stuff.
Yeah.
I just think they're just so psyched up to play at home and to perform for the home crowd. I
Right.
think that's more of a factor than the line change, because granted, we get the last line change, but the opposing coach could always immediately, take whoever's on the ice and,
Right.
put another line out there to match whoever we have.
Yeah, yeah. And to your point, Tim, about 1A, 1B, 1C, it's especially the Lundell line. It's not fair. Most teams, especially teams that are not making the playoffs, their third line is guys they just want to take a look at for next season. You know what I mean? The third and fourth lines, especially. And you throw Lundell with Reinhart and Marchman out there. You're right. It's not fair. But we'll take it. Well, believe me, there's been plenty of years when our first line wasn't as good as our third line is now. Hell, I think we've had years where we didn't even have a top line as good as our fourth line right now. So we're due. All right.
Yeah, I'll chime in on that one.
Go ahead.
We've said it. Our third line is the best third line in the league,
Yeah.
and I think the third line in the playoffs is going to be a factor.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. We got 2 more questions. This is from Glenn. Or no, excuse me. Gian McCall. I hope I got your name right there, bud. He says, hi, Jaws and Stu. All right. So let's see. He says, my name is John. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. And I live right here in Sunrise, Florida, 7 minutes away from the arena. I'm a newer hockey fan, but I'm obsessed with the sport. Big fan of your guys' work. I appreciate you guys also being the only fun sports podcast for all things Panthers. It does kind of bum me out considering how great and special this Panthers team is. While they are attracting new eyes and faces to the team, hockey in large part from the mainstream media in South Florida, the example being the Dan Le Batard show, is still an afterthought. My question is, do you guys think if the Panthers can build off this year's success, pending if they win the Stanley Cup, can South Florida in general become a place like Tampa where hockey is beloved, or is this area too deep into Heat and Dolphins that this will be nothing more than a loyal cult following? All right. I'll answer that question with the story. I'll make it short. In 1986, the Miami Dolphins had Dan Marino in his prime, and they played the Cleveland Browns, who had Bernie Kosar, who had just won national championships at the University of Miami. The Browns had Kosar as their quarterback. The Dolphins played the Browns in a playoff game, and I listened to it at the skating rink because they played it on the radio, because that game did not sell out in time for the blackout to be lifted, and it wasn't on TV. South Florida fans are extraordinarily fickle. You have to win, and then you have to keep winning. And that is the only way to keep butts in the seats. You'll have fans that are baseball fans no matter what. You'll have fans that are, basketball, whatever sport it is, no matter what. The only team that really is going to draw no matter what are the Dolphins, because it's been since 1968. So I think, to answer your question, I think somewhere in between beloved and cult following. I think obviously the fan base will grow, but they've got to win. If they don't have to necessarily guaranteed win a cup for the fan base to grow, but I will say if they lose again in the first round, it might destroy the damn fan base, because there's a lot of people that have been holding on for a long number of years, and you can only get people's hopes up so many times. So anyway, what are your thoughts on that, Stu?
I agree. This is a Dolphins town.
Right.
You take a look at the Heat when, in the LeBron, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade, they won 2 championships. Actually, they go to the playoffs 4 straight years.
Yeah.
The town was crazy about the Heat. I know I was.
Yeah.
The Panthers haven't really given this area anything
No.
to, cheer about. I mean, let's face it.
Right.
We went to the finals one year, and that year was nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Panther fever, the Rats. I remember driving down to the games, I-95.
Yeah.
The light
The
stanchions
lights.
had Panther flags going all the way from Boca all the way down to Miami.
Yep.
Yeah, winning definitely brings fan base.
And a big part of that is because down there, a lot of people are just people from somewhere else. So there's,
Yep.
I mean, I've been born and raised in Miami, so it's in the blood, right? But for somebody that moves from New York or Atlanta or somebody like that, they're interested in the local sports and they want to get involved, but it's not in the blood. And
Yeah,
the
don't
only
forget
way-
we have a large Hispanic,
Right.
population in Miami that are baseball fans,
Right.
football fans,
right.
soccer fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Hockey is like foreign to them.
Right. Right.
So
Yep. Agree. Yep. Absolutely agreed. All right. Last question we got from Colby. There's 3 of them. There's 2 for you. We'll start with those. It says, Stu, what were your feelings towards this year's upcoming playoffs, similar to the feelings you were feeling before the 1980 playoffs when the Isles won their first cup?
that's a hard one for me because I was, for those that don't know, I was a stick boy for the Islanders in their formative years before they won the cup. So I had a personal relationship with a lot of the players. And when they finally won the cup, I cried. I mean, I was just, I don't know if I'll ever be able to replace that feeling of, and then the Islanders, they went to just like the Panthers, they went to the playoffs in their 3rd year.
Right.
They beat the Rangers. JP Parisi got the winning goal in that. And then they had to play the Flyers, and they took them to 7 games, I believe, and Kate Smith. The Flyers had to bring out Kate Smith, their secret weapon,
Right.
to sing God Bless America, and they lost.
Yeah.
And then, I remember the year before they won the cup, they got, the Rangers ousted them. In 78, I think, Toronto out. So when they, that I see definite similarities between the 2 teams.
Right.
The nucleus of our team reminds me of, the Trottier, Bossy, Gillies, Nystrom, Potvin, Billy Smith. But I would just say, honestly, for me personally, the Islanders winning the cup, will always be near and dear to my heart.
Right. Yep. All right. The second question he had for you is, what player, including goalies, are you most afraid to encounter this postseason?
Tom Wilson.
Oh, interesting.
For the reasons I gave,
Right.
at the outset.
Right.
He's a dangerous player. I mean, he's a good player. Don't get me wrong. He could score goals and whatnot, but I just fear him hurting one of our players.
Right. I'm going to answer with Shesterkin, and that's no surprise to anybody. All right. And the last one was for me, but we can both. Colby wants to know can we beat the Lightning this time? And my answer is going to be no, because we're not going to play them. They're getting one and done. We're going to end up playing Toronto. That's
Yep.
my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Well, hypothetically speaking, if we had to play them
Right.
with Ekblad, we beat them.
Yes.
And we would have beat them last year if we had Ekblad. I'm
and
sorry.
Some goaltending. Oh, just a little bit of goaltending. Just a little bit.
Of course.
Just a
Of
tiny
course.
bit.
But I think having Ekblad made such a difference.
Right.
Yeah, there were a few games, that obviously you're right. The goaltending and Vasilevsky played out of his mind.
Yeah.
But we can beat him.
Right.
That's
No,
the
and
thing.
That's true.
Out of
That's true.
all the teams in the league, Tampa fears us. We gave them the hardest series that they played
Right.
last year.
Right.
Everybody says it too.
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of Tampa, and I agree with Eric that I just have a feeling Tampa. Yeah, they might get beat in the first round. I don't know. We can never, count
I-
them out.
No, but I
But-
have a feeling Toronto's going to want it more. If that's the matchup, which it looks like it probably will be, I have a feeling, especially with Toronto's success against us, even though we beat them the second time, they've proven they can score against us. I think Toronto, especially based on the comments that I've seen in the videos when we played the Leafs, the fans want us. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But yeah,
But
What
again,
you-
let's put
ahead.
the missing factor. We did not have Ekblad for those games.
right. Well, we didn't have
Ekblad
that.
makes such a difference.
Right. Oh, and I mean, let's just go down the list. We didn't have Ekblad. We didn't have Lundell. We didn't have Giroux. We didn't have Sherratt. I mean, is there any, let's see, Marchment was definitely in that series. Luosterainen was not a factor. I mean, I know the Lightning have changed. Everybody's changed, but the additions that we've made to this team is just, the depth is just absurd. We scored 6 goals the other night. Huberdeau didn't have a point, and when we've got, guys that are 6, 7, 7, 8, and 9D, basically, when we're healthy, that we're comfortable with. We talked about that all season long, and Zito listened. We went out and got 2 guys, right? And, depth wise in the forwards, you could plug in, I can't think of anybody that like you can't plug in wherever in the lineup, and they'll at least, like you said the other day, we put Lomberg on the top line, and he got a goal. He didn't embarrass himself. Oh, and this is the last thing here. I brought this up, and this is just my personal question I have for you, what you think about the idea, because everybody's talking about we need traffic in front of the net on the power play, right? What about putting Lomberg out there to create havoc in front of the net on the power
Yeah.
play? He's a guy that hasn't had an opportunity to do that. I think just throwing him out there with those guys, adding that energy to the power play, because that seems to be what happens is they get, there's so many good players out there. I think it would just speed up the puck movement because of the extra energy on the ice, so.
I don't know. Like you said, we have so much talent.
Right.
We talked about maybe Hornquist being out on the first, but Reinhardt's taken Hornquist's role,
Right.
and Reinhardt has such great hand-eye
Right.
coordination.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about how many deflections he could make or rebounds. I mean, if a puck
Right.
is bouncing,
Right.
Reinhardt has a good chance of batting it in.
Yeah.
So we just need to get shots.
Right.
That's the key.
That's the key.
We're passing it way too much, looking
Yep.
for the perfect shot.
Yeah.
When I just think we should, be peppering the goalie. All
Yep.
right, if a shot gets blocked, it gets blocked, but there's going to be plenty of shots that get through. Let Reinhardt, be in front and let him do his thing.
Right. Yep. No disagreement. All right, guys, this was good. We really appreciate all the questions. Kept the video. Well, what do we got? About an hour or something like that. Yeah.
Listen, for those that asked the questions,
Right.
if you didn't get the answer you wanted, or you got, let's see a lot of comments.
Yeah.
Obviously, we want you to hit the like button if you liked us doing this, but I want to see some comments on the answers that we gave you.
Yep. And we appreciate it. Now, in the next couple of days, I'm going to be posting a link. I'm going to be doing, some people have been asking if I was going to do the Ask Jaws videos again. I'm going to do those videos for the Patreon and YouTube members, because there's more than 30 people now. So I feel like, I'm making videos for you guys over there once a week I want to show my appreciation for the support you guys give me. So look for those posts on Patreon and the YouTube memberships. And for those questions, you can just respond to me there, and we'll do it that way. So, all right, this was good. This was fun. I'm sure we're going to do it again. Next up is probably going to be, we're going to get this thing together with Billy and Randy, and we'll do the same thing with the email address to send the questions, but hold off on that until we know which day that's going to be. We got the Wings tonight. We could clinch the conference tonight. Live stream 1 hour before the game tonight. I'm giving them more away hockey cards tonight. And then Stu and I'll be back fresh and early tomorrow morning. So we appreciate it.
Tonight's a big game, guys.
Yep.
We can tie our 12-game winning streak record.
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
to see us not take, Detroit lightly, and I don't
Right.
think we will.
Nope.
Yeah, I'd like to see a 5-6-1 victory. I'd love to see a shutout, but let's just
Maybe.
say we always kind of want to
Right.
just play, we'll give them a goal, but I'd
Maybe.
like I don't want a close game tonight. I just want us to come out like on fire and just
Right.
bury them in the first period.
Well, this is most likely our last chance at home to get to 10. So let's see if we can, let's at least get the chant going. Let's at least get the chant going. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one.